6 p.m. tonight and proceed north along the coast of Norway before making a turn to the east at 4:30 tomorrow morning, and then making our way along one of Norway's most beautiful fjords, the Nord Fjord, and on towards our berth in Olden, where I aim to be safely alongside and all fast for 9 a.m. Now, just to stress again, the views that we will be greeted with in the morning really are breathtaking, so I would wholeheartedly recommend being up nice and early to enjoy them. However, if you don't fancy too early a start, please don't worry, as we will still be able to enjoy them again as we sail out tomorrow evening. Now, as for the weather en route for tonight, well, once we leave the shelter of Stavanger, we can expect fairly strong norwesterly winds and up to a force 7 and more moderate seas as we encounter the remnants of the weather system that passed over us earlier. The good news is that as we make our approaches to Nord Fjord early on, we should start to see both the wind and swell abate. However, as you may notice some motion of the ocean tonight, I must ask that you take a little extra care when walking around, and please do make use of the handrails provided. Looking ahead to tomorrow in Olden, the forecasters are predicting another mixed bag of clouds, sunny spells and the odd shower, with a fresh westerly breeze and temperatures reaching a high of 16 degrees Celsius, that's 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, just so you are aware, following our arrival tomorrow, I'll be down on the quayside by the midships gangway from around 9 o'clock for an hour or so to see everyone ashore, so please do feel free to pop down for a little chinwag or simply to say hello. So with that, I'll leave you now to enjoy our sail away from stunning Stavanger, along with the rest of your evening on board Iona. I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. It's the captain speaking to you from up on the bridge. I'd like to welcome everyone back on board Iona, and I do hope you all had a wonderful day here in the stunningly beautiful port of Olden. So up on the bridge, we are just completing the last bits and bobs on our departure checks. Our chief engineer and his team are firing up the main engines, and very shortly we shall be preparing to depart the berth and make for our next port of call, Hellesylt. For departure today, we will be manoeuvring Iona sideways away from the quay, utilising our azipods and bow thrusters, and once in the middle of the fjord, we'll be increasing speed as we depart the harbour limits. Now, I should also mention that during all our previous calls to Olden, when departing the berth, just as we start letting go our lines, the locals in the cafe at the stern of the ship will come out to wave us off in style, whilst blasting out a couple of tunes, including, of course, Rod Stewart's nautical classic, We Are Sailing. It's great fun, so please do make your way to the starboard side open decks, whilst keeping your eyes and indeed ears peeled for that. That aside, once we clear the port, we then have a total distance of some 183 nautical miles to run to Hellesylt, and our route is again initially a reciprocal of that which we took this morning, as we make our way back out and along the beautiful Nord Fjord. I'd expect to be departing the fjord at around 10 p.m. tonight, and from there we will alter on to northeasterly headings, continuing along the coast of Norway, before re-entering the fjords at 2:45 tomorrow morning and making our way along yet more stunning fjordland scenery towards our berth in Hellesylt, where I aim to be safely alongside and all fast for 7 a.m. And in a similar fashion to this morning, I would again wholeheartedly recommend being up nice and early to soak up those views as we make our approaches to the port. As for the weather en route for tonight, when we leave the shelter of the fjords, well, it's looking tip-top, with light airs and smooth to slight seas. Looking ahead to tomorrow in Hellesylt, the latest reports are looking dare I say it, really rather pleasant indeed. Mostly clear and sunny throughout, with a gentle westerly breeze and temperatures of up to 22 degrees Celsius, that's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So with that, folks, I'll leave you now to sit back, relax and enjoy these breathtaking views that are the majesty of the fjords as we sail away from Olden together with the rest of your evening on board Iona. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow just prior to our departure, but for now I thank you for your attention and I wish you all a very good evening. Which is on the ferry coming back from Stavanger is running a little bit late. I thought it best to wait for them as it's a heck of a swim round to Haugesund. So as I speak, the ferry is just making its way down the fjord towards the berth here in Hellesylt. And as soon as the ferry is alongside, we will then have to wait for our fellow guests to perambulate in the general direction of Iona. So I'm hopeful that everybody will be on board within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then I'll come back onto the blower with my departure announcement. And until then, you sit back, relax, and enjoy some of this beautiful weather, and of course, the sun. Very good afternoon, everybody. It's the captain speaking from the bridge. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone back on board Iona, and I do hope you all had a superb day here in the picture postcard port of Hellesylt. So up on the bridge we are just in the process of making ready for our departure, and the manoeuvre for today will involve letting go our lines, and then we will be manoeuvring Iona astern from our berth into the middle of the fjord behind us before pirouetting gracefully as we do, and then increasing speed as we make our way back out towards open sea. And in a slight change to the advertised schedule, we will be slowing down at around 8 p.m. This evening, close to Bryson Deck and the town of Hellesylt, in order to disembark the two pilots we currently have on board, and a new pilot will board who will be with us for the arrival into Haugesund in the morning. We will then exit the fjords at around 9:30 this evening, and from there we have a total distance of some 216 nautical miles to run to Haugesund, and our route takes us in a mostly southerly direction back along the coast of Norway before we make our approaches to the narrow entrance that leads to Haugesund for 7:30. And once inside the inner harbour we shall, yep, you guessed it, pirouette gracefully to port, and I aim to be safely alongside and all fast on our berth for around 9 a.m. And in a similar fashion to Olden yesterday, I'll be down on the quayside following our arrival tomorrow until around 10 a.m. to see everyone as you pop ashore. Now, as for the weather en route for tonight, when we leave the fjords, it's looking relatively good with northwesterly winds at a force 4 and mostly slight seas. Looking ahead to tomorrow in Haugesund, the latest reports are showing a bit of a change in the weather, with overcast skies, some showers, a fresh northerly breeze, and temperatures reaching a high of 15 degrees Celsius, that's 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So with that, I shall say toodaloo, and I'll leave you now to enjoy our sail away from Hellesylt, and of course the rest of your evening on board Iona. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow, just prior to our departure, but for now I thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very good afternoon. Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. It's the captain speaking from up on the bridge. I'd like to welcome everyone back on board Iona, and I do hope you all had a fantastic day here in our final Norwegian port of Haugesund. So as I speak, we are just completing the final bits and pieces on our departure checks. We have just been informed by the VTS, or Vessel Traffic Service, here in Haugesund that we will have to delay our departure by about 10 minutes or so, waiting for the local ferry to pass inbound. But as soon as that's clear, we'll be casting off and getting on our merry way to our home port of Southampton. Now, the departure manoeuvre for today will be completed by my right-hand man and all-round thoroughly nice chap and good egg, Deputy Captain Chris, whilst I fulfil his role. And having let go our hairy bits of string, Chris will be manoeuvring Iona bodily sideways off the quay, so we can line up middle for diddle with the narrow gap between the islands, and then increasing speed as we make our back out through the harbour entrance and to open sea once more. And having previously completed the Stavanger shuffle on Monday, I've decided to name this manoeuvre the Haugesund Hustle, and Chris is positively cock-a-hoop at being able to do the hustle. Once clear the harbour limits, we shall be making our way south back along the coast of Norway, and between around 7 to 7:30 this evening we shall be slowing down and pulling in briefly to Skudefjord, and this is so we can disembark our harbour pilot at their station. Once that transfer is safely completed, we then have a total distance of 607 nautical miles to run to Southampton, and our route will take us in mostly south-southwesterly directions as we head down through the North Sea before we alter more to the southwest and filter into the shipping lanes of the English Channel, and then make our final approaches towards Southampton and the Nav Tower pilot station early on Saturday morning. As for the weather en route for tonight and into tomorrow morning, well, the forecasters are predicting fairly fresh norwesterly winds at a force 5, backing round to the southwest overnight, and mostly slight, occasionally moderate seas. So with that, I shall say ta-ta for now and leave you to enjoy our sail away from Haugesund as we bid a fond farewell to beautiful Norway, along with the rest of your evening on board Iona. I look forward to speaking to you again at about 6 p.m. tomorrow to give you a little update on our progress. But for now, I thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very good afternoon. It's the captain speaking from up on the bridge. I do hope everyone is positively peachy and has had a most enjoyable day at sea thus far. So as to take the time now to give you my little update on our progress, the latest weather, and of course the plan for our arrival into Southampton tomorrow. So following our departure yesterday evening, we have made superb progress on our journey south through the North Sea, and as of now we have covered a distance of 412 nautical miles since departure from Haugesund, and we still have some 2 nautical miles to run to the Southampton pilot station. Our present course is 192 degrees, just a touch to the west of due south, and we are making a speed of 19 knots. We will remain on mostly southwesterly headings as we start to filter into the shipping lanes of the English Channel, and I'm expecting to be passing off the White Cliffs of Dover at around 10:30 tonight. And then we will continue on and make our approaches to the Nav Tower pilot station, that's to the east of the Isle of Wight, where we are due to collect our harbour pilot at the rather unsociable hour of 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. As soon as our pilot is safely on board, we will then make our way back up through the Solent and Southampton water, and I aim to be onto our berth at the Ocean Cruise Terminal for 7 a.m. Now, I will just pre-warn you that it is set to be another very busy day in Southampton tomorrow, with a total of 5 large cruise ships in port. That aside, the nearest point of land to us at the moment is the UK, and we are presently 25 nautical miles east-southeast of the Norfolk coast and seaside town of Great Yarmouth. As for the weather, it's partly cloudy with the wind having picked up to a force 6 from the south-southwest, and we can continue to expect slight to occasionally moderate seas. Looking ahead to tomorrow in Southampton, the forecasters are predicting more of a cloudy day with the odd sunny spell later on, a fresh westerly wind and temperatures reaching a high of 22 degrees Celsius, that's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, just a little reminder that due to the time difference between Norway and the UK, we will be putting the ship's clocks back by 1 hour at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, so please do adjust your clocks and watches prior to retiring to the land of Nod this evening. So finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for choosing to cruise with us on board Iona, and I do sincerely hope you've enjoyed our cruise to Norway and the breathtaking fjords. I'd also like to take this opportunity to offer a heartfelt thank you to the fabulous crew of Iona, who I have had the absolute pleasure of being with since Iona became ours back in October 2020, and the way in which each and every member of the ship's company goes about their daily duties with such professionalism, enthusiasm, and with a smile on their faces never fails to fill me with pride. Now, one thing we love as much as delivering unforgettable holiday experiences is hearing your feedback. And over the coming days, many of you will receive an online questionnaire, and it really would mean so much to us all on Iona if you could kindly take a few minutes out of your day to complete it. For those of you who are leaving us tomorrow, I'd like to wish you a very safe trip home, and on behalf of all the wonderful ship's company that is Team Iona, it will always be our pleasure to welcome you back on board, and it will most certainly always be my pleasure to be your captain. So for the final time this cruise, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very good evening.